You said yes to sex again last night after that same old pep talk in your head. Just do it. Maybe it'll feel different this time. Maybe it'll bring us closer. Just get it over with. And maybe you did enjoy it in the moment, but in the morning and the days that followed, the emotional distance is still there. That genuine connection, it's missing. And you're left wondering why checking off the intimacy box isn't actually making you feel more intimate. I'm Lindsay, this is Loving with Intention, and we are diving in because what most people get wrong is thinking that the path to a better sex life is through trying to have more sex. But that's like trying to fix a leaky roof by repainting the walls. It doesn't work. When couples come to me, they're often stuck in this exact pattern. One partner wants it more than the other, and the conversation about sex tends to end in a total shutdown or an argument. They both feel misunderstood, judged, frustrated. And if you're the one with lower desire, you might be wondering if something's wrong with you or with your husband or your relationship. Let me be so clear with you. You are not broken. Differing desire levels, which is known as desire discrepancy, is so common in long-term relationships. And while there can absolutely be medical factors that impact libido, like hormones, medications, health conditions, and so much more, that should be discussed with your healthcare provider. What I want to focus on today is the relationship dynamics that often get overlooked. When couples come to see me and they say that sex is one of their biggest issues, we actually don't dive into talking about sex for a lot of sessions. And that's because a fulfilling sex life isn't built in the bedroom. So what actually creates and sustains a strong sexual connection? That comes down to two fundamental pieces that most couples miss. And this was heavily researched by sex educator and researcher Emily Nagoski, who's freaking amazing. She shares that the first piece that is needed to help couples sustain a strong, healthy sex life is a foundation of friendship and trust. This is emotional safety in your relationship. Can you share your feelings and know that your husband will hear them and hold space for them? Can you do the same for him? Can you grow through conflict? So not eliminate conflict because conflict is normal, but actually repair after conflict, learn about each other, grow moving forward. Can you agree to disagree? Can you move through challenges together? Are you pouring into your love account regularly with small things often like love languages, intentional hellos and goodbyes, turning towards bids for connection? Do you step into personal responsibility again and again in your relationship, looking at your role in challenges, the unhealthy patterns that you bring to your relationship, and work on creating new, healthier patterns? And does your husband do the same? This is where we create that foundation of safety and trust. This is where we feel like friends because we feel safe to laugh together, to play together, to be together without feeling on edge from the tension. Just think of the way that you hang out with your friends and you laugh and you have such a good time, and then you get home and it just feels tense and your mood has shifted, your energy has shifted. It doesn't feel the same. And when I share that all of those things are one of the pieces in having this strong, healthy, sustainable sex life, you might be thinking, that sounds like a lot, and we don't have most of that. So I'm giving you so much love around that. I am not telling you that you need to have all of that sorted out in order for sex and intimacy to improve. But some of it is really important to be building on that foundation. And by the way, just note, improving sex and intimacy does not mean that you get to a place where you have sex as much as your husband wants to. It means getting to a place together where you both feel seen, connected, satisfied, happy with sex and intimacy in your marriage. You can talk about it. There's no magic number. It's about how you both feel. And when you build that foundation, oh my goodness, just imagine being able to talk about intimacy openly without tension, shame, feeling on edge, feeling blamed, feeling judged. Picture feeling that genuine desire to connect, not because you should, but because you feel emotionally safe and truly seen. This isn't just a dream. I've watched couples go from telling me we never talk about sex to having the most open, honest discussions with laughs and love about their desires and their needs that they have ever had. It is the coolest. So it is so possible. So that's the first part, that friendship, that safety, that trust. So the second piece that Emily Nagoski shares that's necessary to maintain a strong sexual connection over a lifetime is prioritizing sex. Couples who stay sexually connected make sex a priority. It's often easier to do that when you have that foundation that we just talked about above. And making sex a priority, she says, means getting skin to skin in bed. You know, when you're feeling the spark in the moment and you send your husband a spicy text from work, and by the time evening rolls around and the kids are finally in bed, you're freaking exhausted. The spice is gone. You are wishing that you didn't send the text, but you can see that he's like giving you the eye. This is where you might want to lean into getting skin to skin in bed. If you have a more responsive desire, which is a totally normal way to experience desire, then that spark is only likely to show up after you're skin to skin. Yes, maybe you felt it in the day when you sent the text, but now it's nowhere to be found. But responsive desire picks up after intimacy starts. This is not to say that you should be doing something you don't want to do, or that you have to follow through on that text, or that it's not okay to tell him you've changed your mind. Your choice and your boundaries are so important. And if you're working on things and although you're exhausted, you're not totally turned off by it, getting skin to skin could be just the thing that you need, because sex isn't just about the physical act, it's about so much more. Connection, time together, safety, trust, love, so much more for both of you. If you have had times where you have had sex when you weren't really in the mood, and then you did really enjoy it, that's responsive desire. And there's actually another layer to prioritizing sex, and part of it might be surprising. The couples with the most satisfying sex lives aren't the ones who have no problems or no arguments or no conflict or challenges. They're the ones who know how to heal their hurts. The truth is, learning to heal together is the path to deeper intimacy. Emily Nagoski, bless her, shares that prioritizing sex is not just about getting skin to skin or scheduling it in if that's what it takes. Prioritizing sex also means you are prioritizing healing the hurts in your relationship. Maybe you sent that spicy text from work, but now you're home and you and your husband have been bickering ever since you walked in the door. Maybe he snapped at you. Maybe he was telling you about work and you were spaced out and totally ignoring him. Those hurts, those can make getting skin to skin feel like the absolute last thing that you want to do. You might be thinking, I'm not going to give him sex if he's going to talk to me like that. And it's not even just those moments of hurt. It's the heaps of hurt that have been swept under the rug over the years, the resentment that bubbles under the surface, all the times you both tried bringing up issues outside of sex and felt totally unheard. It's the repetitive arguments that never get anywhere, the misunderstandings. Maybe there's been an affair in the past that was never fully processed and healed, trust broken, so many things. These hurts can stand in the way of the sex life that you both desire, which makes so much sense. And again, you might hear all of this and be thinking, well, we're a write-off then. There are so many unhealed hurts. Or you're thinking, my husband's not going to work on things, so I guess it's just never going to get better. Again, I want to give you so much love and all of the compassion and reassurance. You don't have to heal all the things to see your sex life start to improve. And while I'm speaking primarily to women with lower desire, though these roles can totally be reversed in relationships, this message is actually for both partners. So if you're the husband watching this and you're the higher desire partner, being willing to hear your wife validate her hurts, work on healing together, this is crucial. It doesn't start with just fixing your sex life or jumping into talking about sex. If only one of you is watching this right now, that's okay. You can still be the one to lean in and do the work, even if your partner isn't ready to do the work yet. Because when one person starts showing up differently in the everyday dynamic in your relationship, the whole dynamic shifts. I work with individuals to help them change the dance. It is possible. And specifically to the husbands watching, your willingness to work on that foundation first, rather than talking about needing more sex, could be the very thing that helps your wife feel safe enough to open up again. So, for the couples who work with me, by the time we start really diving into talking about sex, their desires, brakes and accelerators, past hurts around sex, sexual beliefs, all of the things, we've already been working on building that foundation of emotional safety. We have been learning the skills to truly hear and understand each other, creating a really safe space where both partners feel valued and respected, started healing the wounds outside of sex and intimacy. So now we can talk about prioritizing sex, getting skin to skin. Without laying the groundwork first, it's like trying to build a house on sand. You can have the most beautiful bedroom furniture, the most romantic lighting, the perfect playlist, but if the foundation isn't solid, nothing you put on top will feel stable or safe. But when you build on solid ground, that's when real intimacy, connection, and a fulfilling sex life becomes possible. Imagine being that couple who can talk about anything, even sex. The couple who knows how to repair after conflict, who feels safe being vulnerable with each other, who has a spark of genuine desire because they feel truly seen and heard. This isn't just possible, it's exactly what happens when you build the right foundation. And this only happens when you prioritize your relationship growth. We never learn how to do relationships until we choose to. I celebrate every single client on the regular, every session, for diving in to do the work and the play that comes along with it, because this is truly what it takes. I've worked with couples who came to me saying they couldn't even mention anything about sex without it triggering an argument. By the time we actually started discussing intimacy, they were relaxed. One woman shared that it felt like such a relief to be able to talk about it, knowing that it wasn't going to turn into a fight. Another couple came to work with me and she used to cringe at every touch because of past things in their relationship and beyond. And now the cringe is gone. She's feeling seen, appreciated, understood, and now she's much more interested in sex and intimacy. This is the power of building the foundation, tending to the hurts, and doing the healing work. It matters. And truly, again, if just one partner is watching right now, that's okay. You can still be the one to lean in and do the work, even if your partner isn't ready yet. Ladies, I know this firsthand. My partner initially said no when I asked him to work on our foundation years ago. But when I chose to get a relationship coach and changed how I showed up in our relationship, the most amazing thing happened. He started showing interest in doing the work too. He never wanted to do the work before, and that's why I work with women today, because I've experienced and witnessed countless times how one person going all in can transform the entire relationship dynamic. And again, this isn't about trying to get to this place where you're giving up what you want, or your husband has to give up what he wants, or somebody's winning and losing. This is about you two getting to a place where you can talk about this and figure out what works for your relationship that feels so good. And remember, your sex life isn't broken and neither is your relationship. They are simply asking for attention in the areas that matter most: the foundation, the trust, the emotional safety that allows true intimacy, to just flourish and bloom and feel so good. If you are resonating with this message, if you're ready to stop forcing intimacy and start building real connection where you feel seen and heard, and you actually want to get intimate without having to give yourself that pep talk, we can dive in. Whether you're diving in solo or as a couple, we get to start with building that foundation. You can totally reach out to me directly, Lindsay at lovingwithintentioncoach.com, Lindsay. It's in the show notes. And we can talk about my love journey process. It would be my greatest joy in the whole wide world to support you and your intentional action for this week. The next time you feel frustrated about sex, maybe your husband brings something up, or you can tell he wants to have sex, or you're not in the mood for sex, pause and ask yourself, what might be underneath this? What foundational piece might need attention first? What can I start pouring into? Then choose one small way to work on that area this week. The video on the screen here is a deeper dive into sex and lower libido and everything that goes along with it. It will be so helpful, so I recommend clicking on that right away, and please reach out if you would love support. Thank you so much for being here. I am sending so much love into your day. Remember that nothing changes if nothing changes. So let's have a super intentional week.